You ever make a beautiful color-coded study schedule for the week and maybe Monday goes okay, but by Wednesday and Thursday you're procrastinating and everything just comes crashing down in one big heap of guilt? Your study schedule probably sucks. Here's why. You know what the number one thing is about study schedules that just doesn't work? The strictness of the study schedule. Stop making strict study schedules. I know this goes against literally all the advice that you've ever been taught, but there is a reason why they are not working for you. We are human beings. Our energy changes and fluctuates. Heck, the content of what we actually need to study changes and fluctuates. Some topics are easier to get through than others. Some days are easier to get through than others. So if everything's constantly changing, how can we still make sure we get things done? Your top solution is the flexible bare minimum. Every single day, there needs to be at least one or two things that you study. Could be 5 minutes, could be 30, but even if you don't do anything else that day, this is the absolute bare minimum that you need to get done. For me, that's 10 minutes of Korean flashcards, 10 minutes of French flashcards, and 10 minutes of French grammar a day. If I hit all of these points, I can ensure that I am making progress in my linguistic development. Baby steps are better than no steps. It needs to be relatively small and manageable for you. What might be small and manageable for me might not be small and manageable for you. The flexible bare minimum is good for two reasons. One, even if you don't study everything, you can either get nothing done or you can get a little done. That little you do compounds over time. 10 minutes of Korean flashcards a day makes 3,600 minutes a year. That's a heck of a lot more than zero. Another reason is the idea that when we start something, sometimes we don't even want to stop. I'll get so in the zone with my French grammar sometimes that I will physically see the timer go off and I'll completely ignore it because I really want to know if I know the next flashcard that's going to come up. Our brain likes finishing things that we've started. Our human emotions and feelings are constantly changing. You can either use that to your advantage or to your disadvantage, especially when it comes to this next point. You need to figure out your optimum time of day. The most standard traditional thing to do is to come back from school and start studying. But this method is not for everyone. Studying after school was horrible for me and was actually secretly sabotaging my grade. Why? Because I didn't yet realize that I had an optimum time of day that was different to the traditional one. Your optimum time of day is the period in your day where you have the least resistance to study and the most energy, with the least, but I'm tired. It may feel like you never want to study, but if you're in tune with your body and your natural peaks and dips in energy, you will notice a time of day where you have less resistance to the act of just studying. Are you a night owl? Your optimum hours would be any time after the school day ends to the time that you sleep. Are you an early bird like me? Your optimum hours are any time from when you wake up to when you start school. Or are you a flexible worker, meaning your optimum time changes depending on how you feel or what you're up to that day. By the way, you can be a mix too. You can be a flexible worker that prefers to be a night owl or a flexible worker that prefers to be an early bird. There is no correct or incorrect choice. Only the choice that feels right for you. Now you've figured out your optimum time, I need you to go to the App Store, download AppBlock right this instant and block out any app usage of anything that could distract you during this time. Why are we doing it? Because our time and energy is precious. Social media will always be there. Netflix will always be there. YouTube will always be here, but your energy levels are going to shift throughout the course of the day. You got to make it as easy for yourself as you can to strike when the iron is hot. not. And what to do if you're a flexible worker and these hours always change. Just block social media usage when you begin a study session. You can turn it back on when you finish. Another thing I need you to do is to understand the difference between fluid and strict tasks. We need to admit that sometimes we cannot predict how long a task will take. We are not fortune tellers. We cannot see into the future. I could start this maths worksheet, everything seems to be going well, then I encounter a problem I've never seen before and spend an extra half hour trying to solve it. True story. True story. That's another huge problem with traditional study schedules. They assume that you know how long a task is going to take and you must fit that task within this ridiculous little time block. It's really important to know the difference between the types of tasks. A strict task is built to work around a specific time. For example, my 10 minutes of Korean flashcards is just that. 10 minutes of Korean flashcards. There's no rabbit hole for me to fall into or thing I could get sidetracked by. It's just me, my flashcards, and 10 minutes. For the fluid tasks, it's really difficult to estimate the amount of time it will take you, and strict tasks you pretty much can. For example, a fluid task might be writing an essay. I've got to do research for the essay. I might fall down a rabbit hole during the research and end up getting so deep in I didn't even realize that another hour had passed. Or maybe my ideas just flowed slightly differently, so now planning has taken up more time than usual. It tends to be that the creative tasks like essay writing end up being fluid and simple mundane tasks end up being strict. But then there are also in-between tasks. These tasks technically could be fluid, but you tend to know how long it's going to take you. For example, I might get a task from my teacher that I've had for a while, and I know that that teacher tends to set homework that lasts about an hour. I could still fall down a rabbit hole or get sidetracked by a very difficult question, but I've seen the pattern. I've done these tasks a few times. It's not that likely to happen. So now that you know the difference between all these types of tasks, right? This is going to revolutionize the way that you study. There is actually an order that these tasks need to come in. And this order is strict, in between, fluid. You always put the fluid task last. And this order is going to ensure that you get as much studying as you need done. You have a limited amount of time and energy in a day. We wish we had unlimited energy, but we're human. We don't. If we begin a study session with a fluid task like water that can take up a lot of space, they may even take up all of the energy and the time we have in a day. Oh look, it's the end of the day and all I've done is this one fluid task because it ran over. But if you start with the strict task, you know that that's only going to take you 20 minutes. Done. And then you go to the in-between task that you know is only going to take you about an hour. Done. Then the fluid task that you can continue to do until the study time is up. Oh look, I've already done 3 things now, all because I started with the strict tasks and then ended with the fluid ones. But how do you know what to study? A lot of people just make study schedules and say at 2 p.m. Wednesday, I'm going to study maths for 30 minutes. But do you even know what maths you're going to do? Are you trying to memorize something? Are you trying to understand something you didn't get in class? If so, what topic is it? What part did you not get? If you want to study effectively, you should be answering these questions before you even put that pen on your paper. Trying to answer all of these questions can get really intimidating and really daunting, which is why if you're studying maths, today's sponsor, Brilliant, has got you covered. Brilliant is an online interactive learning platform where you learn by doing, with thousands of interactive lessons in maths, data analysis, programming, and AI. One of the tricky things about learning, having, and making all of these study schedules is the ability to fit everything in. Life gets busy. You have 1,000,001 things to do, and Brilliant hears that, which is why you can use the Brilliant app on the go whenever you need it just a tap away on your phone. They have quick practice sessions and streaks, which get you productive and make you feel like you're getting something done, even if you just used it for 5 minutes on the bus to school. They have a full range of topics, and recently I've been diving into the one they have on large language models. You can build and use formulae that help you out in work, in daily life, or you can apply these skills as well to real life scenarios. You can also take a dive into understanding how applications like ChatGPT works, aka what I'm doing now. And I do have a little offer for you. If you want to try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a whole 30 days, you can scan the barcode or check out the link in my description. You can also get a whole 20% off if you choose to continue with Brilliant with an annual subscription after the 30 days is up. Again, go to brilliant.org/girlinworld to get a whole 30 days off Brilliant for free and 20% off if you choose to continue with the annual subscription. What are you waiting for? The last tip I want to give in this video is to have a cutoff time. You know how I was saying you should do fluid tasks until the end of a study session? Right. How do you know that a study session is over? It is so easy to get burnout as a student and end up falling down this slippery slope of overworking. Overworking is not fun. I'm not about to sit here and be one of those productivity YouTubers or study YouTubers that glorify studying 17 hours a day. That is not it. Your body, your mind, and your soul needs rest. We can't fight our own biology and we can't fight our own nature. One thing that will help you avoid this is by having a study cutoff time, meaning this is the time of the day that no matter what happens, you will not be studying during this time. You put down that pen, you put down your book, and you call it a day. For me, that's after 5:30 p.m. I know that's a bit early for some people, but anything after that, and I'm just not doing it. I'll wake up tomorrow morning and get it done. Your study cutoff time might be 5 p.m., might be 9 p.m., whatever works for you. But the most important thing you need to do is to respect that there will be no studying after the clock hits that time. Another reason why this is so good is because it forces you to get the work done before that time. If you know 9 p.m. you've banned yourself from studying, you know that you can't procrastinate and wait until 9 p.m. to get all that work done, because you can't study at that time. You're also probably a lot more likely to get the work done beforehand because you know after 9 p.m. there's a reward at the end. You can relax. But Tara, what if I'm a flexible worker? I think it's even more important to have this cutoff time if you're a flexible worker, because the time that you work changes every day. You guys are even more prone to overworking. You don't want to be studying till 4 a.m. one day, then forget your body had to sleep and wake up at 6 a.m. to go to school. I'm looking at some of you guys. I see you guys. Now you know how to slot in the times that you study. You might want to know about what to actually study during that time. And for that, we've got this video to help you out. That better have recorded.